figuring out all this shit by yourself. I promise you. I promise you it is one of the downsides of this. But before I get into the topic today, let me introduce the episode. Ooh, let me also do that because echo is not cute. But y'all know what time it is. Boom, boom, boom. I'm kidding. Is everything going to work today? It is. I think everything's finally set up. I can go ahead and... Hello, my petals, and welcome back to another episode of the Roze Garden. I am your host, Tabla Rosa, aka La Rosa Negra, or Black Rose if you're nasty. And today's episode is about being a loner, in an episode I'm calling The Odd Rose Out. Now, before I begin, let's be very clear that being alone does not mean that one is lonely. I am very comfortable in my solitude and have even found that I get claustrophobic around people as of late. I didn't know it was a thing, but I definitely, if I can't find a sense of escape or if I start to feel trapped or overwhelmed in an environment, I just start feeling suffocated and overwhelmed and panicky. I say all that to say I've been spending an increased amount of time in my room because antisocial feels safe as hell, especially considering there's a lot of newness in my vicinity. My new work environment is great. I love the job so far and the coworkers are cool. The job itself is easy, but with the current pandemic and the idiotic decision of 45, a business career president, I want to fight. He literally works in a field where money is the most important thing because the business cannot operate without money. His dumb ass decided not to open the national bank and or consider it an essential job to continue the flow of creating coins, considering it's common knowledge that we live in a capitalist society. It's challenging on businesses that operate physically because not having coins means having to either hunt down coins or try and round up and down on transactions to make up the difference of the change deficit. Basically, overcharging or undercharging people, and this makes the job stressful for a newbie like me. I also have a new roommate who's a good friend living with me now, and I'm having a blast, honestly. It started out a little bumpy though, but I think it builds character. However, it's that adjustment between being friends and being a roommate has been quite a task. Making that distinction between being my friend and spending time together and being roommates and defining my space for solitude has been a bit strange too now because I can't tell when we're hanging out, if we're hanging out because we're actually friends or if we're just occupying the same common space. So now I'm working on making it a bit more deliberate where I'll either bring her into my room or we'll go to her room and we'll hang out that way. But maybe... I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit too uptight about lines and such. But I think lines keep everything pretty nice and smooth. It keeps everything in order. And, I mean, I probably sound like a whole ass paranoid, what's it called? I probably sound like a whole, conspiracy theorist right now. But it's true. Order it helps me operate in the world. Nonetheless, whatever it may be, I'm strapped in now, so I might as well just enjoy the ride, right? Seems like the best thing in my eye. All that aside, though, I really enjoy being alone. It's my free time, and realistically, it's an escape from reality in the world. I know a lot of people, especially plus-size individuals. Shout out to last episode. Y'all should go and listen to it. A lot of plus-size individuals. Something I didn't touch on was that solitude is one place where I'm without external critique, honestly. All the opinions and whatnot affect and infect my mind, but I can distract and work it away if I'm being productive, or alternately, if I'm being unhealthy, I can eat it away because I can enjoy my food as I deem fit in the sanctity of my own space, and no one's gonna tell me anything about it. I can also admit that most of my viable talents have been cultivated in my alone time. I'm a great speaker because I spent plenty of time alone reading books, writing stories and poems and essays, learning new words, talking to myself, which is not a crazy thing. People should actually do it more often. Talk to yourself so that when you talk to others, you already know what you're going to say. But trying to talk to yourself and just be by yourself doesn't work. Don't talk to yourself and have a whole on conversation with the man in your head. But sometimes you gotta check in with you. Be like, you didn't. Yes, you did. You just did that. Okay, I'm not tripping. Because me, myself, and I is a whole unit. We help navigate this world in this body. And technically, I'm never alone in that regard because there's 3 of us in here. Think about it. I should start recording these in advance, and I want to do memes. That's what I'm going to do with this. I think that'd be a good idea. Anyways, back on subject. That's some sweet nectar right there. I hope y'all wrote that down, though. You don't have to talk to people to learn how they communicate, especially in this day and age. We didn't have as much internet access to everything in the early 2000s when I was a kid. Most of the time it was, again, just the televisions, or if we read a couple of magazines or whatever was said on the schoolyard. Because I don't even know if people really talk on the schoolyard no more. I see so much snapping and running around with each other and taking selfies and shit. Aside from fights, how much actual talking gets done. But unlike that entire situation, I'm used to being affected by and being alone because no one escapes the status quo, unfortunately. I'm used to being affected by the voice of the unknown. Of the known, the voice of the public. However, unlike most, I had a guiding force of sorts that allowed me to escape the voice and hear the stuff that lied in the unknown. I got to experience movies at a young age. I both watched Pootie Tang and Dolomite and all of our black exploitation films that led to the whole hip-hop era of Spike Jonze and all the different late great 90s and 2000s and even 80s black movies. But I also got to experience things like Midsummer's Night Dream. Let's see, what's something else I got to experience? Wizards of Oz, as well as The Wiz. But The Wiz sort of borders that line of black staples. A lot of black people have seen it, but not everyone. I got to experience jazz music. I got to experience alternative rock and actually enjoy the varying facets of pop that weren't necessarily played on the radio. I got the luxury of actually being a kid too, because as much as it sounds corny to a lot of people, I grew up listening to different Disney and Kids Bop remixes and stuff, and that shit would go off. I'm sad now because I just think of the day when that CD broke. Oh my God. That CD got me through so much. It was, and I say that CD, but I should clarify for those who don't know. Growing up till I was maybe 8 or 9, I had a couple of CDs actually, but there was one particular CD that I had that one of my mom's coworkers made. And it was a collection of random songs and whatnot that they burned and mixed together, because this was still back in the times when CDs were how music got around. We hadn't quite hit the phase of iPods yet. But believe me, even still, I love iPods and earphones and whatnot, but there's just something about popping on a CD, especially in your own room, and just, I can't describe it. I just can't describe it. It's so amazing. But it was just so great being able to experience all these things. I got to experience a lot of different things, like eating out too. And I got to go on road trips, and I had flights. And I had such a broad experience because I didn't do what most Most did. It was very isolating, but isolation isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, hell, we need to stay isolated right now because we are in quarantine. Corona needs to go. We are in quarantine. This is March number 5 now. Let's see. Yeah, it's 5 months from. Is it 5 months? I think 5 months from March to August. April, May, June, July. Yep, 5 months. We on March 5 because we don't count this. 2020 has been on pause. We ain't even had a viable March. It's gonna get cold again. I'm waiting for it because this heat is not the business. Summer supposed to be doing this thing, but even when they're doing this thing, I'm still like, can the sun go kick it in the dark somewhere? Oh, but it still be hot at night. At least I'll be alone in my room, because imagine being hot and you got somebody next to you. Get off me. I hated that. I really do. And now I understand when mom used to complain I was a kid. Because with being a loner, I did still crave moments of attention. And I would always just be lying all over her, lying all around her. She's like, it's too hot for this. Get off me. And I don't understand how she got hot. Because she was anemic. So I was always told anemic people was cold. But, I guess they decided not to specify on when they get cold, because I promise you, I was so sad to find out that my mom was like, I take iron, I'm good, get off me, there's no reason for you to keep me warm. Feelings hurt? Absolutely. But let's go ahead and pick some petals for today. It's probably going to be a short episode because I'm by myself and I don't have to steer a conversation, because I don't have Jasmine, Jerusalem. We talked about Jezebel. I need to come up with some more J names for her. She vexes me. I swear she does. I don't have her interfering with the conversation. Ooh, I have 2 questions today. Specifically, the first one is, what's the gray line between being a loner because you enjoy being on your own and being a loner because you had to? Damn. That's actually a really good question. So, I feel like one feeds the other. I don't think it was ever a complete, it was a complete cause and effect, or it was a decision. I feel like at one point you were by yourself, and so because you were by yourself, when you started going around others, you weren't used to the shit, and either you didn't fit in or it was just not of interest to you, so you fell back into being a loner. It became sort of, I guess, both, but is there a line in the sand? I mean, I suppose you could call the line in the sand at the point where if you wanted to reach out and be social, you couldn't be. I think that's a very distinctive point to you being a loner involuntarily, if no one just wants to be around you. Oh, excuse me. I think that's where I'm going to draw the said line, because you even start towing into it when people can only be around you for a certain amount of time. Because if you're that friend where people can only hang out with you for like an hour or two before you grow to be a bit much, it's probably just best you start to seclude yourself more, or listen to what they're saying, but that's a different conversation, because communication is important. Reading is fundamental. There are a whole lot of those, but yes, believe me when I say, sometimes it gets so annoying, and I go into solitude and end up being the person forcing someone else into isolation because I don't want to be here if you getting on my nerves. That sounds so bitchy though. It's the truth. At least I can be nothing but honest with you. Question 2. When and how do you know when loner mentality isn't necessarily healthy for one's mental health? Oh, it's a 2-in-1 question. What are healthier coping options, mechanisms for helping oneself? So since it's a 2-parter, I suppose I'll answer them in order. When and how do you know when loner mentality isn't necessarily healthy for one's mental health? Everyone can truly gauge. It doesn't mean that they're capable of actually getting the help when they realize it, but everyone is capable of gauging when being alone is making you feel happy, making you feel whole, making you feel full inside. It's bringing you joy, it's bringing you pleasure, versus when you're being alone because you're hiding from the world, or you feel something and you don't like how it feels, so you don't want to do it again, or you're hiding because it's the one place where things can't hurt you at any point. And I don't mean physical harm, although that's a potential too. Getting to all of that can begin to weigh on your mental health. If you being alone isn't, I guess, like it starts with what I said in the beginning. If you cannot enjoy being alone, like without there being an ulterior motive, if you can't just be in your bedroom because you like being in your bedroom, or you can't just stay to yourself because you want to be alone, not because you're avoiding somebody or because you're incapable of, how do I want to phrase that? Incapable of enjoying yourself with anyone else around, because that is like social anxiety can be incredibly overwhelming. But there's that part of it. It's just all of those are what take the tax on your mental health. I feel like isolation and your alone time should always be a safe space, and anytime your safety feels like an emergency hideout instead of somewhere you can just fall into, it should feel like a bed, not like a bunker. There, I'll say that. Anytime you feel like you're going there out of emergency, or you feel like you're going there because this is a preemptive measure to be safe, that's not, I don't think that's healthy for your mental health. But what are some healthier coping options and mechanisms for helping oneself? I think it starts with, because it worked, at least this is anecdotal, I have to acknowledge that. This worked for me. You could try reaching out to people who feel the same way as you do, be it in online forums and whatnot. And that right there, you're in your safe space, but you're still building that social bridge and slowly letting out a little bit of rope, just sliding it out. And slowly, as that rope gets tighter, then you can begin to actually peek your eye outside. See what the party is, be like, oh, that looks fun. Close your door. Next time, you peek your whole head out. You're like, oh, that music's pretty nice. And you slowly build that up until you get to the point where it's, okay, I can be out here and it's good. Or, and this is the most common answer likely, talk to a professional. There's nothing like actually sitting down with someone who knows what they're doing and what they're talking about and allowing them to help you. This doesn't mean automatically resort to medication. This doesn't mean that it's going to be a comfortable option, as likely going to any doctor for whatever reason is not comfortable. It's not the perfect thing in the world. But you get better in the end. That was a good question. Okay, that's an interesting question to track, or not track. I have one of my queer friends asked, how does dysphoria activate or reactivate one's depression and or isolation? And I won't claim to be an expert in the matter, but again, I can only speak anecdote because I'm trans non-binary. It means I have my moments where I perceive and identify in masculinity and perceive and identify in femininity. And sometimes when I feel like I just come off too femme to the world, I have to go back into my room where I can sort of at least reaffirm my own like sense of masculinity or so that I can potentially alter my look so that I can fit and fall into what I need to see. Because if they're perceiving me in one way, it causes me to feel as though I like it. It causes a sense of imposter syndrome where I'm not allowed to be in my one space because someone else wants me there. I feel like I didn't articulate that well enough, but I probably could have. So I'm gonna try it again. Someone boxing me into femininity, or even someone boxing me into masculinity, though I'm not even gonna lie. Someone said I look like a man the other day, and I was like, oh my god, thank you. Because I swear, like, it's a compliment, I get it, but sometimes I do get tired of being called pretty. There are too many other words, there are too many potentially neutral words, but pretty has a very feminine specific connotation, and that's the sad part. It's always just going to be like pretty girls or pretty women. Even the term pretty bitches. It's not something that, like, a pretty man has a negative connotation to it. And as much as there are pretty men in the world who probably reclaim that sentence for them, for me, I just couldn't deal with that. So it would cause me to want to go somewhere where I don't feel like I'm giving people the space to do that. There we go. I feel like that better explains the part of the dysphoria that causes you to get isolated. Someone said, are you alone because you need your chakra realigned, or are you alone because your breath stinks? That's a petty question, and normally I wouldn't answer these, but I'm with the shits today. I'm alone because I brushed my teeth and went back to sleep with all that hot breath coming right out my throat. It was flaming, the dragon. It was hot, okay? But I'm also alone because I want to be alone. Damn. My chakras are perfectly in balance, thank you. Oh, people on the internet stay attacking you. I pray to God. Oh, I'm going to pray to God and on social media that I don't ever truly get canceled. Because I'm going to look at that shit and I'm going to laugh at people dragging me because I'm like, you right. That was trash. It's going to hurt, but that shit, I know it's going to be funny because there's never been... Actually, that's a challenge. I challenge anyone listening to. Someone find me a dragging that was not funny on Twitter, because it matters. I don't know. I'm looking through these questions. Y'all gotta engage more, because I get a very short range of questions, and a lot of people don't like ask questions because their question automatically gets answered. I want you to jump the ship, ask what you want to ask, and I mean, since I'm live today, but then I'm gonna have to, like, if it ends up being dead, I'll take the chance, I'll take the risk. Anyone live today has any questions, they can ask me what their thoughts are on lonesomeness or being a loner or being in solitude, all those different things. Hello. Did you have a question for me, Ale? Oh my God! That's only something that you feel comfortable doing in the solitude of your home. You are right. I'm not going to read that out loud because, quite frankly, I don't want to get us caught. But I see you, I read you, and that shit. There are just some things you, like, find the energy and the strength and the gall to do only because you've been fortified. Like, I have somewhere I can escape to when all this shit hits the fan. Y'all be hanging out with each other, so when shit hits the fan, y'all all just gonna get sprayed. I'm gonna be behind the door. Y'all have fun. Oh shit, that was funny. But I am thirsty. This is a mid podcast reminder to drink you some water, hydrate. It's good for your skin, good for your body, good for your soul. Drink water. There's no reason not to. Speaking of water, that fucking Liquid Death commercial the other day pissed me off. That was so stupid. I mean, I get that it was supposed to be stupid, but just don't do it. Now that our water break is over, let's see. Oh, I hope I'm not putting pressure on. A good question. I suppose I can tackle another one because I do want to answer the live question. Do you feel like people? Oh, I didn't even see this one. Do you feel like people who like to be alone a lot are narcissists? I'm going to quote Amanda Seales right here and make it very plain. A lot of people throw around the word narcissist to mean someone who is either confident in themselves or to themselves or even selfish in some regard. And this can be traits of a narcissist, but those things do not a narcissist make. That being said, I do believe that people who are to themselves, those who are to themselves tend to have a larger sense of self for the most part because, I mean, who won't check you except you? And you already said the worst things to yourself, so can't nobody say something worse than you already done told yourself. That being said, I do think being alone can build a great sense of confidence, although a lot of loners are perceived to be shy for some reason. Just because I don't want to talk to you don't mean I'm shy. Let's get that straight right now. Right now. Right now. I do think some narcissists enjoy being alone because, hell, that's how, in the story of Narcissus, how he died. He died alone staring at his reflection. So, although in his defense, I will say, because there's a common quote that's spread through the black community, alone you came into this world and alone you shall leave. Even if you were a twin, y'all weren't born at the same time. One came out, then the other. So, I suppose that should provide a sense of reassurance for being alone. Plus, I'm gonna keep reinforcing it because I'm tired of everything being closed. Because with everything being closed, everybody's inside instead of outside enjoying their motherfucking lives. COVID-19, stay your ass at home. I said it once and I'm repeating myself because it's so damn important. Stay your ass at home. Let this shit die. Put on your mask. Wash your hands if you got COVID. Don't go touching nobody. Don't go coughing on nobody. Don't go sneezing with nobody. If you got COVID and you asymptomatic, because that's very possible, so don't share your drinks with nobody. This is the time you should be the stingiest motherfucker on this planet. And I mean it. Unless you got people you trust, you should not be all up in a space. Now, I will say, because I'm in college, and I know a lot of people who are listening right now are also in college, too, because most of my friends are college people, and friend engagement is where it starts. Let's be clear. Your roommates are inevitable people. If one of y'all got COVID, all y'all got COVID. And if y'all all don't got COVID, y'all better lock down the hatches, keep it tight, cement them in their room, keep it that way. Throw them food through the window And that's gonna be that. But your roommates are inevitable, so I will say, even in your solitude, you're not really alone, because you got 1, 2, 3, hopefully no more than 3, because 4 people in a house, or 4 people who like own one specific space, I should say, is a lot. You got those people with you, and hopefully your relationship with them is cool, because I'd like to think your roommates care about you and you care about them. I want to do something different for plugging new roots this week. Instead of plugging songs, I'm going to take the time and in today's bio, and a lot of people tend not to see the bios because they either don't listen to this on YouTube because they're on the streaming service, which is fine. I do appreciate you listening from the streaming service, but it doesn't always have the links and whatnot. This is going to be an extensive bio this week, so I want you to check out a bunch of different black businesses, because just in your alone time, you could be shopping. You spending money anyways. You might as well spend money on something you really want and something that could actually benefit a true cause. Because Black Lives Matter, Black businesses matter, all the different things matter right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in this sequence, and you'll see, because I'll have them sectioned off. You'll have your Chico local businesses, because I'm in Chico, California, so it makes sense that I network with the people around me. I'm going to do the Chico local black businesses, so that y'all can experience that. And then outside of that, I'm going to plug businesses that can be reached online or by mail or whatever the reason is. Websites, so on and so forth. Social media even. Now, I will say this too. Just because I'm recommending them doesn't mean I say everyone's going to have an amazing experience with them. I also don't encourage you to go and kiss someone's ass because I've put them on. Like, if you have a bad experience, I want you to be authentic. But I feel like being authentic also helps make that full customer experience too. But don't get bold because you alone in your goddamn room shopping either. Because ain't no reason for you to get reckless on somebody's website. Let's keep that clear too. COVID-19 better not turn y'all into Twitter thugs and trigger fingers. That all being said, since you're going to see everything today in the bio, I'm going to turn over a new leaf. And I guess my advice for being alone is, alone don't mean stay in the dark, because that can actually cause depression. I've realized that the hard way. I was at one point where school was over and I wasn't working and I didn't have my blinds open. I put up shit to cover the windows. I didn't go outside. I was maybe watching TV once every blue moon. Texting, but the brightness was on low. You get the picture. It was dark. I was living in a dungeon. And living in that dungeon, I was okay for a moment, but I realized nothing was changing. I got sucked into this own void. But being in that void, especially considering I was in my bed too, something about the darkness, like, convinces your body it's nighttime, it's time for bed, which is why you're supposed to turn off the lights when kids go to sleep. Something in all of that darkness just, it made me more tired even when I was awake. Then after being more tired while I was awake, I wanted to be awake less and less. And then things that would once make me laugh hysterically were just giggles. And before I knew it, nothing was making me happy anymore. And I just was sleeping all the time. Until I finally decided to get up and open the window. Oh, I hated the light. I swear I did. There's nothing worse. That is the most disrespectful way to wake somebody up. That and pouring cold water on them. The light helped me at least get, like, it was weird. It felt like this weird recharging moment, like you'd be seeing, I don't know if you've ever seen a sunflower find sunlight, turn directly to it and spring back to life, and just all the fucking birds start singing and shit. There's a whole opera choir somewhere in the distance. It just all works out that way. definitely, like, don't sit too long in the dark. I want to make, also, before I go today, plain to everyone. My social media on everything is the same. That's OG, LA, the beautiful city where I am from. Capital ROZA with a hard Z. Yes, ma'am. Capital NEGRA. Because I'm bliggity black and I'm black, y'all. That's OG La Rosa Negra. You can find me on pretty much anything. If I'm on it, that's my name. Except Facebook. I need to set up a page. But, like, I feel like the title of the page should still tell you because it's titled based on the podcast. Interact more on social media too. I'm gonna go ahead and post next week's topic probably Friday, and that's a great way for you to shoot me questions too. There's an actual question submission board on the Facebook page. If you like my shit and you want to support me, there's a support option on the Anchor website. And I was going to put my Cash App and Venmo and shit, but I felt like that was tacky, so I didn't. You're welcome, because I'm trying to have class and taste. And, did I miss anything? Oh, yes. If you ever want to hear me discuss a topic, too, or something that crosses your mind, just tag me on any social media and be like, hey, I was thinking about this. You think you could talk about this on the Roze Garden? And hell, I might even have you on too if you want it. Just holla at me. This has been real, y'all. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Bye, everybody.